Your phone alarm goes off in a dark bedroom, and for a few seconds, your body does not believe the sound. The room is still black. Your eyes feel heavy. Your mind has not arrived yet. But the machine insists. A small rectangle on a bedside table tells you that sleep is over, even before your body is ready to leave it. You reach for the screen almost automatically. Swipe. Silence. Maybe another alarm is waiting 5 minutes later, because modern waking often begins as a negotiation with a device. You do not rise because the sun has changed. You rise because a schedule has spoken. And because the world outside your bedroom has already decided what time your body should become useful. For most of human history, that sound did not exist. There was no phone glowing in the dark, no clock on the wall, no office calendar waiting in the cloud, no electric light stretching yesterday into today. There was only darkness, cold air, the slow dying of fire, the sound of other bodies nearby, and somewhere beyond the camp, things that could move while you were asleep. Ancient humans still had to wake. They had to protect children. They had to keep fire alive. They had to move before heat became dangerous, or before animals disappeared, or before weather changed. They had to notice dawn without a bell, without numbers, without a machine shouting them out of sleep. And they had to do it in a world where sleeping too deeply could carry a cost. So, how did ancient humans wake up before alarm clocks existed? The answer is not simply that they woke with the sunrise. That is too clean, too modern, too easy. The deeper answer is that ancient humans did not lack a clock. Their clock was biological, environmental, and social. It was built from light, darkness, temperature, hunger, fire, memory, children, elders, and the uneven sleep rhythms of the group. Most people imagine ancient sleep as one of two simple pictures. Either ancient humans slept perfectly, peacefully, in harmony with nature, or they slept badly, like frightened animals, constantly interrupted by danger. Both images are too flat. Archaeology cannot record every sleeping body, but comparative studies of small-scale societies and modern circadian science suggest something more interesting. Ancient humans were not sleeping in a bedroom. They were sleeping inside an ecology. One of the strongest clues comes from a well-known sleep study of 3 present-day groups living without industrial lighting: the Hadza in Tanzania, the San in Namibia, and the Tsimane in Bolivia. These groups are not living fossils, and they are not identical to Paleolithic people. But they offer a careful comparative window into how human sleep can behave when electric light, climate control, and rigid clock time are mostly absent. The surprising finding was that people did not simply fall asleep the moment the sun went down. In these communities, sleep often began several hours after sunset and tended to end around dawn or before dawn. Their average sleep was not dramatically longer than sleep in industrial societies. What mattered was not a romantic 8 or 10 hours under the stars. What mattered was timing. Sleep was shaped by evening darkness, cooling air, seasonal changes, and the body's slow response to the world around it. Imagine a camp after sunset. The sky has gone dark, but the night is not empty. People are still talking. A fire is still breathing. Someone repairs a tool. A child leans into an older body. The day does not end with a switch. It fades. Sleep comes not because a clock says it is time, but because light has fallen, heat has changed, movement has slowed, and the group has entered another rhythm. That detail matters. A modern alarm clock treats waking as a single moment: noise, reaction, obedience. But in a world without clocks, waking was often prepared by the whole night. The body measured darkness. The skin measured cold. The ears measured safety. Dawn was not an appointment. It was an event the body had been moving toward for hours. And temperature may have mattered more than most people imagine. In the same research, sleep was closely tied to environmental temperature. People tended to sleep during the cooling part of the night and wake as the temperature began to shift toward morning. This does not mean ancient humans had a perfect natural schedule. It means their sleep was braided into the physical world. Air, not an alarm, helped tell the body what time it was. This is hard for a modern person to feel, because your bedroom is designed to erase the outside. Walls block the wind. Glass blocks the insects. Curtains block the dawn. Air conditioning holds the night at one chosen number. Your body still has ancient sensors, but many of the signals they once listened to have been muffled by comfort. You can sleep at noon in darkness. You can stay awake at midnight under artificial daylight. You can make the planet disappear. But ancient waking was not only personal, it was also social. Another study of the Hadza looked at nighttime activity patterns and sleeping groups and found something quietly astonishing. Across the observation period, there were only brief moments when every monitored person was scored as asleep at the same time. The researchers described this as sentinel-like behavior. Not necessarily formal guards standing watch, but a natural staggering of sleep and wakefulness across the group. Some people fell asleep earlier. Some stayed awake later. Some woke in the night. Older adults often had different timing from younger adults. Together, these differences meant that, for much of the night, someone was awake or lightly awake. A camp could sleep, yet never be completely gone from the world. This changes the image of ancient sleep. It was not just one person lying alone, vulnerable in the dark. It was a web of bodies. A child's movement could wake a mother. A cough could wake an elder. A strange sound could ripple through the group before anyone fully understood it. The night had layers of awareness. Sleep was shared, and so was danger. Think about how different that is from the modern bedroom. Today, sleep is often private, sealed, individualized. One person, one mattress, one schedule, one alarm. But in a small foraging camp, your sleep was partly held by others. Your weakness was distributed. Your unconsciousness was protected by the fact that not everyone became unconscious in exactly the same way at exactly the same time. This may be one reason age mattered. In modern life, older people who wake early or sleep lightly may be treated as having a problem. In an ancestral context, that same pattern might have had another meaning. A grandfather awake before dawn. A grandmother stirring in the coldest hour. A restless adult hearing movement beyond the firelight. These were not merely inconveniences. They could become part of the group's survival system. This does not mean every night was strategic. No one should imagine ancient humans running a perfect sleep schedule like a military watch. The point is stranger and more human. The group may have created protection without needing to design it. Different bodies kept different time. The young, the old, the tired, the alert, the hungry, the anxious. Together, their uneven rhythms formed a kind of living alarm system. Your body still carries the machinery for this. Deep in the brain is the suprachiasmatic nucleus, often described as a master clock. It responds strongly to light coming through the eyes and helps coordinate daily rhythms across the body. When darkness arrives, the brain increases melatonin, a hormone associated with sleepiness. When light comes, especially strong morning light, the system shifts toward waking and alertness. But circadian rhythm is not just a sleep switch. It touches body temperature, hormones, digestion, attention, and mood. Sleep pressure builds the longer you are awake, pushing you toward rest. Light tells the body where it is in the day. Temperature, food, movement, stress, and social timing all add their own signals. Ancient waking came from a chorus. Modern waking often comes from a single sound. That single sound can work. It gets you to the airport. It gets medicine delivered. It gets nurses, drivers, parents, cooks, builders, and teachers into motion. Modern timekeeping is not foolish. It protects enormous systems that ancient humans could never have built. The alarm clock is part of a world of hospitals, schools, trains, electricity, food supply, and coordination at a scale no campfire society could manage. But every tool also changes the body it helps. Artificial light is one of the most powerful changes. Modern research shows that light at night can suppress melatonin and shift circadian timing. Blue-rich light, common in screens and many modern environments, can be especially alerting at night. This is useful when people must stay awake for work or emergency care. But it also means the ancient signal of darkness can be weakened inside the modern home. So the problem is not simply that you own an alarm clock. The problem is that the alarm often has to rescue you from a world that confused your older clock first. The screen keeps the evening bright. The room hides the sunrise. The schedule ignores the season. The office starts at the same time whether your body slept well or not. Then the phone screams in the dark and calls that discipline. Ancient humans faced danger outside the body. Modern humans often face confusion inside it. A person in a Paleolithic camp could not control the night. Darkness arrived whether they wanted it or not. Cold entered the bones. Dawn changed the horizon. Fire demanded attention. Other people breathed nearby. The body was not perfectly comfortable, but it was constantly being informed. The world kept speaking to it. You, by contrast, can override almost everything. You can heat winter into spring, You can light midnight into afternoon. You can eat at times when your ancestors would have been unable to find food. You can scroll through glowing faces long after the real faces in your room have gone quiet. And then you can demand that your body wake cleanly, on command, at 6 a.m. This is where the story becomes uncomfortable. The obvious idea is that ancient humans were missing alarm clocks. But the deeper truth may be that modern humans are the strange ones. We need alarms not only because we are advanced, but because we separated sleep from darkness, waking from dawn, and time from the living world. The ancient solution was not primitive. It was relational. It connected the sleeper to the sky, the air, the fire, the animals, the children, the elders, and the subtle movements of the group. It did not make life easy. Ancient sleep could be cold, broken, exposed, and dangerous. No one should romanticize that. But it belonged to a world where the body's timing still mattered, and where waking was not just a private act of productivity. There is something lonely about the modern alarm. It calls only you. It does not care whether the night was restless. It does not care whether your mind was racing, whether your room was bright, whether your body wanted another hour, whether the season is dark, whether the morning has actually arrived. It has one job: to cut the thread. And yet you obey, because modern life runs on synchronized numbers. The clock lets strangers cooperate across cities. It lets food arrive, planes depart, surgeries begin, and messages cross oceans. We gained safety, scale, and astonishing precision. But in gaining mechanical time, we also made it possible to distrust the older time inside us. Go back to the phone alarm in the dark bedroom. The next time it rings, listen to what it really is. Not just a convenience, not just a tool. It is a small modern replacement for sunlight, cold air, fading fire, group rhythm, and a planet your nervous system still expects to feel. Your body is not confused because it is weak. It is confused because it was built for a world that gave time through light, temperature, hunger, danger, and other human beings. The technology changed. The need did not. Somewhere inside you, an older clock is still waiting for the sky.